文喎，出錯啊，係跟住寄咗個 Elsa 嘅唔知咩頭飾嗰啲咁，跟住我女兩個女話，如果試啲咁嘅嘢俾我，跟住家姐就話，嘿你中意咩？話妹妹都唔中意嘅已經，但好快，其實跟住2日就寄翻新嘅嚟，Well, listen, at least you didn't get anything else. You got your sofa seat, so it's not. I was just saying the mistake that my husband Taobao order. Yeah,
Ship something wrong.
Yeah, ship something completely wrong to us.
Okay, we are recording, so whenever you're ready. Well, welcome everybody, and welcome to our podcast, Leaders Beyond the Stage. In the podcast, we will redefine what it means to lead. And over a few episodes, we'll look at different aspects of leadership, particularly in areas related to personal development, career success, and entrepreneurship. Just a quick intro about myself. My name is Robin Wong. I was a corporate executive, now a coach, mentor, and business advisor. My passion is to help people to be successful by, so that they can reach their full potential. My other co-host is Lena Wong, a very special lady, a leader in her field. Lena just been awarded as the Women of Influence by the American Chamber of Commerce. So congratulations.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Robin. Hi, everyone. This is Lena Wong. I'm the founder of Hong Kong Momtrepreneur, which is a charity that empowers mothers through entrepreneurship. I also founded a company called Womenters. We work with organizations or companies that are traditional male dominant. So welcome to the show today.
Okay. So we are delighted to have a very special guest today, Miss Jane Tong, who's a founder of a successful furniture company by the name of Giovanni. The company sort of symbolize quality, innovation, and style. So understand you have had your company for close to 25 years.
Yes,
So you must have an amazing story. So maybe you like to give us a brief intro and also how you started the company,
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Jane. So Robin just tell everyone that my company is Giovanni, and actually myself and my husband started this company 25 years ago. At the time, we were thinking to have a brand, which at the moment there's no brands, no furniture brands in Hong Kong, and we just sell through all this department store. But we think branding is very important, so we start this company at that time. We also choose to just, perhaps everyone knows that Giovanni is famous for selling one type of item, just sofa only. So that's deliberately that we selling one item for this brand, and that make it easier for everyone to remember at the time. So that's how we start. Right.
Did you always know you want to be an entrepreneur? Or do you think as something that you acquire or that inspiration came upon as you get a bit older or more mature?
Right. Well, I think from my personal characteristics, maybe I got some little, I don't know, really, entrepreneurship within myself because I'm the eldest sister in my family. So it's part of the job that being a big sister, you have to carry, you have to take care of your family members, particularly during Chinese New Year when everyone gathered together. You have to make the decision to for your sisters and all the little brothers, where to go, where to eat, where to play, what sort of things you have to do, during those few days. This is our culture. But honestly, I think at the beginning of my career life, I don't think I ambitious to become an entrepreneur. At the moment, particular during the first 5 years, I'm still working in the company that's my father-in-law, also a furniture company. At that moment, I'm still an employee. I'm just helping. And when I start my business with my husband, I'm still thinking to help him more than, being myself as a director. With this kind of thinking, I think I learn a lot from being a new person in this area, in furniture area. And then I start slowly, comfortably, and later on, I think it's the time for me, for myself, to become an entrepreneur in my role in my company. That's how we start. So I don't give myself a great pressure as being an entrepreneur at the beginning.
Right. And obviously, you started a company 25 years ago, and it's been amazing that you start from a local company to become international company. So, what has been the journey like? I mean, what are the share with some of your challenges and some of your
Well, I remember at the beginning, when we started the company, it was a pretty local company. We so-called, think big but act small. We always think, how can we go into international business instead of just being a local business? Because as I mentioned before my husband and I start our own company, we are working for my father-in-law, which his company is an export company. So when we start in this new field, it was we were attempting to, or maybe we have been contacting with a lot of overseas clients, international people, the professional people in this field in Europe, in the States. So we do have the knowledge and also the experience working with them at the beginning before we really start our own international business. So that's one point that we do have the experience. And the next stage is when we are ready with financial aspect. When we are ready, then we use our expertise and also our knowledge to reach out all these people, like having the materials, importing from overseas, and at the same time we export back to Europe or to the States. And this kind of business is easy, for us with the experience, as I said, and also with the I think we do have the strength ourselves to do this kind of business, but it's the timing, when you should start, and this is the key points. That to answer your questions, the key point is the timing. When you have a good local business to support yourself, and then you can start to have an international business, which is much easier to do that. Make sure that, at least I have to make sure that I do have the financial support and also the financial, we call the cash flow to throw around. Mm-hmm. This is.
So mention about the timing. I mean, how can you find when's the right timing?
Well, for furniture business, it's a human business. We have a lot of relationship in between. So you make sure that when you start your overseas or international business, you make sure that your supplier and also your supply chain and also everything goes good. It's not just about numbers or money. It's about the relationship. You make sure that you find the right person that you say if I go to the States or say if I go to Europe, you cannot just jump into it and then, hey, somebody, do business with me. You don't do that. You have to connect with the right person, and then you take some time. And during that period of time, you need your cash flow, you need your money. So you do local business, because local business is always easier to start with, because you know the language, you know the culture, you know the difficulties within, and it's easier for you to predict and also to solve the problem. But for overseas, sometimes it's not so easy because you are not there, and you have to trust your partnership. And during the time, then you know your knowledge by having your local business, and then it can be your strength and also support you, like myself, to go to overseas to do a business over there. So the timing, it's not just like 3 years, 5 years. It's talking about how fast the cash flow you can, gain, and also the relationship that I just mentioned.
I see.
So you also just mentioned, obviously, the design may vary region to region because they have different appetite. And then there's also certain trend depending on what's the latest, coolest design.
Right, right.
How has you been coping with all these changes, given that it's an international company, that different part of the world will have different, preference, and also there will be different trend?
Right. It's kind of a trick, within our industry. I think, for example, in Asia, in Hong Kong, we are living in a smaller space. We know that, particularly we are, living in Hong Kong ourselves. We know that all this space, how to make use of like a big sofa, how to put in a small space, how to make use of the mechanism to create something we call transformer, not just a sofa, maybe it's a sofa bed or some other mechanism. This kind of design is very good for Asia, for Hong Kong, because we have a small home setting. But for like overseas, usually we do some research. And for my company, I'm lucky that because I do have my husband is doing the design himself.
Oh, I see.
Yes, he enjoys very much to do the design because when he managed our factory, we always connect with a lot of designers, and they're always telling us this and that, and he learned from these designers. Many of them are from overseas, and during the time he learned the skill they have. And he thought it's pretty easy for him. It's too easy. And then he started to do it himself with his name instead of somebody's name. So that's how he started. But he really do a lot of research. And particularly when we visit our customers, say in Japan, which is quite near from us. And also in Japan, the housing, the size of the house or apartment is very similar to Hong Kong. So we ask, what's the difference between, like, say, in Tokyo and in Hong Kong? There are a lot of differences. I can tell you that. And he just keep asking questions. In fact, he's doing what we call a research or a focus group. By the time when he comes back to his office, and then he replan how to do it. So this is how we start off with this design. But at the same time, there's trends like fashion. We go to the exhibition, we go to all this trade fair. Of course, right now the internet is so easy, to get all this information, with just one finger. So it's you have to study from time to time, and you will get the trend. Everyone can get that, but just the difference is how well you do it, how deep you look into this, and you will get the trends, and that's how we start our business. Of course, we make mistake, and after that we may lose some money because of this mistake. The products may not sell, and then we have to redo it again. So this is how we learn, and we get the trends. Of course, right now we do have a team of R&D, the research and develop team. We do have designers from all over the world. But remember, all this start from one person, is my husband. He start first, and then we have a team to do it. So it's more mature and it's more convincing with all this group of people. And also in Hong Kong, I have a team of salesperson. I train them to learn from my husband how to read the minds of customers and the trends, and then this is how we start. Right.
Okay, I would love to ask these questions given the work that I do in women empowerment.
Oh.
So the furniture business is still a very male-dominant industry. I don't suppose you will go to a factory, in such a nice dress normally. How has it been like, being in your career working in a relatively male-dominant industry?
Well, I think I always tell myself, act like a man. Just don't think about women or wherever you are. Just act like a man. The reason is when we talk about business, it's talking about mindsets, strategies. It's not talking about your how how much you can carry, or how it's not talking about physical. Of course, when it comes to some physical disadvantage, then I would take my advantage as a woman. So I will stay somewhere aside and let the guys do it. But when we talk about business, really don't think about don't tell yourself women or men. Just act like everybody else. And when myself becomes a leader, I have to act like a leader. And I can order somebody to help me to do it, but I'm not the only one that to order somebody, and I'm not doing nothing. Make sure that I'm in the right role, and this is how I usually do. So I remember when I was still young, I'm so afraid that because I'm particular when I go to Europe or to the States, it's a male dominant industry. Everyone's is male men, and they are so tall. I'm so short, and so that so I do have afraid. I mean, I do a bit of afraid that I'm maybe I'm being looked down because I'm to be physically is being looked down. So but I tell myself I'm short, so just let it be. And then I figure that they are not looking down upon me. They're just being polite to look, on face to face. This is your perspective. I mean, this is their perception. How you look into yourself, not how people look into, on your appearance. So this is how I, think about it.
I see. And how you define yourself as a leader? I mean, what's your leadership style? Do you think that's any difference between a male and a female leader? Because I had two female bosses in my career, and it's very different, from the male.
You're not talking about your boss at home, right?
But that's the more important
More difficult one.
yeah, more difficult one, yes, more candid.
I think I'm kind of I would say maybe participative. What do I mean is I usually I still work together with my staff, so I participate into their work, but at the same time I let them to make decision. So I'm not really controlling them, but I try to involve and get my staff involved at the same time. So this is how we make the decision. The reason that I do that because I am not the kind of bossy, very dominant one. From my look, you can tell that I'm not very dominant. But I do have my beliefs, and also I have my own thoughts, and I would like to share to them. And from time to time, nowadays the young people, they do have their own thinking. I want to exchange with them and let them make decision. Even maybe somehow at the back, I'm doing some decision myself. But I do want them to have the confidence, and that's very important. And nowadays, I'm not working on my own. I have a team. And if they cannot make their own decision, it's very bad, in the future for my company. So this is how I think and how I act, within my company. But I think one more word I would like to add on is authentic. I really, true to myself and to my team. So I can, well, at that moment, I think I can share my thoughts and also my values. And that's also very important to share my own value to them. And it becomes our cultural, maybe our organization culture, or even my integrity. I don't know the words, but just telling the truth to them. And when 1 year, 2 years time, when my staff, come back to me, oh, I remember last year or maybe the year before you have mentioned the same thing. It's you change all the time. If I'm not telling my real truth, I will change all the time, and it's very dangerous, I think, in these days.
I must say that I have had very good experiences. previous boss, not my wife. I mean that, but in terms of their leadership is in the corporate world. I mean, my experience to be they seems to be able to attend to details much better than men, and also more empathetic, more willing to listen, and so it has been a great experience.
I cannot say maybe this is not just the advantage of a woman, being more attentive or maybe more or maybe a good listener. But it depends. All depends on the characteristics.
Yeah.
I mean, the personal is the personal kind of strength. Everyone is different from everyone. I mean, everyone's different. But for me, I think men and women is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly, we're talking about leadership, not just talking about some other thing. But in for women, sometimes we are good listener, but sometimes we are also very emotional from other people's point of view. You have to make sure that I have to make sure that I control. Sometimes I have to control better than what I thought. Because
Right.
I do have emotional time, and my staff can tell because I'm really, honest and quite truth to everyone, so they can tell very easily from my facial expression that today you are not in a good mood, and then you're so emotional. Well, stop. And I tell the same thing to my staff. Maybe he's a male or female. When they're emotional, stop them.
Right.
Because you make wrong decision, when everyone is in emotion. So,
Well, we've been interviewing a few guests and about leadership, and authenticity always comes out repeatedly. So I mean,
Really?
it's good to hear. I mean, do you just be who you are, and people start to trust you and believe in you, and that's more important than anything else, I think.
yeah, I do believe that the technical skill, sometimes that we call computer skill, or um, uh, like we do furniture, the professional skill, it's nothing. Well, I cannot say nothing, but it's rather easy to learn. It's you have way to learn. You have I can coach them. We have a book to tell you, how you do furniture, and then what's the skill you need. But something you cannot write down is about emotion, your personality, the value that you believe. You cannot write it down. You have to act. You have to do it in front of your staff. So this is very important, I think, for nowadays, for a corporate.
So in running a business so far, what has been the biggest challenge?
Well, we always when we used to talk about money is the biggest challenge, very biggest cash flow. A few things. I mean, a few times that we have cash flow problems, but we do solve. Usually, I from my point of view, it's not. It's the way how you react to this kind of cash flow problems. Because every time, even when the business is very small, because I do have trust from my supplier, so I can solve out the problem from them. But then, for me, as because we're talking about women leadership, for me another biggest problem, not just the cash flow, is about the broken run. When I'm pregnant, when I have to take care of my families, I mean my kids, I figure out that I look back, that few years is one of the biggest challenge for myself, but not for the company, just for myself. So if I answer your questions, then I think I would put it in two different ways to look into this kind of questions. When we have like my clients went bankrupt, my biggest European clients went bankrupt is one of the cash flow problem, which is a company problem, but we solved nicely at that moment. But at the same time, I remember that when I got pregnant, and also particularly those 2 years when they're my kids were just born, the timing that how I managed to run my company at the same time is also one of the biggest issues at that moment. But I'm very lucky that I go through, and particularly with my staff at that moment really helping me to go through all this. Of course, my husband. But, this is also very challenging. But I'm really glad that I have a good time management, that I go through all this, and it's a nice way to go through. But sometimes I tell my kids, I think I can go home, a little bit earlier to take care of them. But I think I broke my promise as usual, because I promised my youngest son, I promised him that I come home by 7, but I never did. So that's one of the things that I have to, balance it out from time to time. It's also a challenge for women.
In terms of balancing, actually, and other areas I like to talk with you is about sustainability, because you're also involved in sustainability.
Yes.
And now a lot of clients really focus on eco-friendly materials and are very concerned about, the earth as well. So, I mean, I'd like to hear from your view about how you balance between, profit and sustainability and the cost.
Well, it's a really good question, because many people ask us, about this. We have been doing sustainability, talking about environmental and also we call SDG 12 for like 10 years already. So in fact, we do have a team to come together and to put comments for how to do the ESG within our company. We don't call it ESG. We call ESE, environmental, social, and economics. ESE. It have to be balanced. Make sure that when we have a project, I delegate to, say, for example, a packaging. We want to have a better packaging material. So I delegate one person in my company to carry out this project. But at the same time, another person will challenge about the economics side. So there's always check and balance between the economics means profit and also the issue, talking about sustainability issue.
Right.
Because if we don't have the financial balance, it's also it cannot be sustainable. So it's a good and difficult project. I would say project, but now we don't treat it as project anymore. We treat it as one of the missions in our company. We have to go for it. We have to think about it. Everyone in the company has to do it together. So this is how we balance. It's not easy.
Of course.
But we have to do it. We believe we have to do it.
Well, definitely, I hear a lot of entrepreneurs saying that sustainability is definitely going to be in their DNA going forward, whether you are a big enterprise or you're just a startup, because that's also the demand from the customer.
It's true, but not true. I can tell you that, from our customer's point of view, environmental issue is not my business. ESG, never heard about it. So they don't care. They don't even pay $1 single for it. But now we will educate the customers. At least you have a better products. At least you have a better quality. So they will think about it, with the same price, if I have a better quality, then I will go for it. So it's not just talking about just telling that you have to support environmental safely product. You have to support all this ESG product. No, they don't think in that way. And when I talk to a lot of SME boss, the small company, they still think about survival and that kind of thing. And what's at ESG? You have to pay money, you have to invest. They just ignore it. So that's why I say yes or no. For startup, I think it's amazing that so many startups think about different ways to do business right now. They start with CSV, the share value, create share value kind of concept instead of traditional, financial or profit maximization. The big crop, of course, they have to comply with all this, laws and environmental reports. They have to do the reports, so they will go for ESG, but they just do the reports, not really, from their hearts to do it.
Right.
So I think it's a time to change. From my point of view, we have been doing it slowly, but it's also the time to change. That's the reason we put it in our mission, and also to educate our staff slowly, and do it. Don't stop, just do it.
So with the rapid changes nowadays, which is like political, economically, how you see this the future of the industry going? I mean,
Well, I'm not the expert, but from my point of view, ESG is one of the way. So that's why I pursue. I mean, my company pursue, in ESG. Why we have to do it? Because a lot of hot topics we have been talking about, the climate change, whatever. But we can see that when I during the interview, I have mentioned that I have a lot of customers, and also my major materials are from Europe, and the European countries are really fond of, or they stress a lot on the sustainability or environmental friendly products because of the necessity. We see that the industry change, the compliances change. At the same time, I hope the customers will change slowly, but they do change. The new customers, the young generation, they do have a lot of concern about this. So this is one of the major go forward kind of directions we think about. And at the same time, it's about technology. Taking, for example, not just because the product having new technology or not, but the production line, we are manufacturers, we have to concern about the manufacturing method, the new generation, how they come into this kind of we call secondary, industry. Nobody wants their kids to work in a factory. They want their kids to work in, like bankers, or maybe some IT, related, or technology, tech savvy kind of industry. So we want to attract those new people, we call young people, to come into this kind of secondary industry. We have to be more tech savvy, or maybe like we have recently we have changed a lot, like our POS system, we have our warehouse management system, everything robotics, more on machineries rather than doing by hands. And for those sewing or doing by hands kind of craftsmanship, we treat as like a craft or a very high standard kind of products, because they are for the very high value products, and then we have to do it by hand. So there's two ways to run a factory. So this is how we see this is a trend in our industry.
Yeah. You just mentioned you want more young talents in the industry, and I also know that, Jane, you spend a lot of time mentoring and also being sharing speaker at NGO. Who has been your role model or mentor in your life?
Well, talking about mentor, I think from my head, just pump into my brain will be like, maybe there are 3 people that I think they are one of my mentors. Of course, there are many people helping me and being, coaches and inspiring me. But those 3, well, the first one I think is my father-in-law. He brought me into this industry. He told me everything he knows, about about this industry, good or bad. And I think he's one of the person that I look back, he's one of those mentors. But at that time when he told me and my husband, we didn't appreciate, what he told us, like just father and son, but we really appreciate what he taught us. He's the first one, and I think the second one will be the sustainability lady that she tell me that her name is Brenda Lee. She told me that I have to do it. I have no choice. I have to do it. But she inspired me not coaching me how to do it. It's just inspiring. So I think she's the second one. And now we are going into these directions. And the third one is called Mark Lee. Mark Sir, we call Mark Sir. He is he run and coach CEO to how to think. And he is also, running all this kind of seminars to coach everyone to rethink, think differently. And I think he taught me something, how to rethink. He didn't tell me what to do and how to do, but how to rethink. So he's one of those. I mean, I think this three person is quite important, in my life. And I treat them as my mentor.
So also you are a mentor yourself, right? You mentor a lot of other mentees. And how you see mentorship, the value of mentorship?
Well, since I'm getting benefit from my mentors, so I believe that if I have a chance, then I can share my experience. I think just experience and also inspire some other people, what to do. I cannot tell them how to do it, but from my experience, and sometimes I do have a lot of friends' experience, telling these mentees, they can think differently. They can work, in different ways, and also don't be restricted. Sometimes we are limited or put ourselves into a framework or constrain ourselves. How to outreach some other people or think or use your relationship to do something else. This is what I learned from my mentors. And this is how I share my thinking to them. But of course, my company has a lot of experience. I mean, a lot of historical history. I mean, rephrase. My company do have a lot of experience to share to some others, like design, like interior design, how to make our shops looks better, and also with a lot of interior design work. Sorry, it's very confused here. I better let me think. My company has a lot of ways to teach the student how to do better design, how to make a better environment in the shops, and how to get a better customer experience. And this is what we share to the new age people, like the university students. We share to a lot of even secondary students. And also when we talk about design, we also teach them how to make from a drawings to become a real products. And the transition is very difficult. And this is the way how they learn, from for a designer, how to draw, why you have to draw like this. And when it becomes a real product, what's difficulties you have to conquer, you have to think about it. And we figure out that there's no such things, in the design course. This university or even the HKDI, they are famous for design, but they don't teach about this. So this is how we do, and give back to the industry. And that's why we start all this journey, mentorship.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Jane. We always like to wrap up our show by asking one question to all our guests. If there's one piece of advice you'd like to give to the younger self, what would that be and why?
Let me check. So for me, I think I would tell myself to think deeper. And to rethink sometimes, because I'm, as I mentioned, I'm, a very true person. So sometimes I believe, maybe I trust a person very easily. And I think this is a mistake. Somehow it hurts myself and hurt my people around me. So this is what I would suggest, that when you do something, you have to rethink and think deeper. Don't be too shallow, on looking at one issue. So this is what I will suggest myself, and to make sure that my younger people, my younger friends will not fall into this trap again.
Okay, so we would try to be a much more authentic, yet we think that's very hard to balance.
Well, thank you, Jane. It's thank you for very much for giving us very authentic, feedback and interview, giving your true thoughts about different aspects of leadership. I hope the audience will enjoy our episode because we always try to find interesting guests with a interesting message. And if you like it, please give us your feedback and tell us what kind of subjects you like more, and then or even subscribe to our channel, and then also visit our LinkedIn and also our website. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good.
Good. Thank you. Cool. Huh?